But here's what most people don't realize. If you're a man over 50, waking up tired, carrying stubborn belly fat, and feeling your drive quietly fading, it may not be your age at all. It may be what you're eating every morning. I'm a board-certified urologist and men's health physician, and I've spent decades helping men reclaim their energy, confidence, and hormonal strength. There's one healthy habit silently lowering testosterone, and in a moment, I'll reveal it. Tell me where you're watching from, and remember to like and subscribe so we can stay connected. But here's what most people don't realize. The word healthy on a food label doesn't mean your hormones see it that way, especially not after 50. I see men every week who are doing everything they were told to do, eating fruit, avoiding junk, trying to stay disciplined, and yet their testosterone keeps falling. Their waistlines keep growing, and their energy keeps fading. And that disconnect creates a quiet kind of anger, a kind of betrayal. Because no one told you that some fruits, the very ones praised as clean and natural, can spike your blood sugar, raise estrogen, and slowly suppress the very hormone that makes you feel like yourself. I want you to understand something important about testosterone as you age. After 50, testosterone isn't just about sex drive. It's about whether your muscles stay firm or melt away, whether fat goes to your hips and belly or stays under control, whether you wake up clear-headed or foggy and tired. Testosterone is your body's internal signal for strength, drive, and metabolic order. And when it drops, your body doesn't just get older, it gets confused. It starts storing instead of burning. It starts converting instead of building. It starts protecting fat instead of protecting muscle. Now here's where sugar enters the story. When you eat something sweet, especially something high in fructose, like most fruits, your blood sugar rises. Your body releases insulin to deal with it. That insulin doesn't just move sugar out of your blood. It also sends a message to your cells. Store energy, shut down burning, and that's where testosterone begins to suffer. High insulin levels directly block testosterone production in the testes. I've measured it in blood work thousands of times. Men who spike insulin frequently almost always have lower testosterone. Not because they're broken, but because their bodies are constantly being told to store, not build. Your liver plays a massive role here too, and most men don't know this. The liver is your hormone processing center. When you overload it with fructose, the kind of sugar found in fruit, it has to decide what to do with that excess energy. And one of the things it does is convert it into fat and into estrogen. Yes, estrogen, that same hormone we think of as female. Men, the fruit lie, make it too. But when it rises too high, it acts like a brake on testosterone. So every time your liver is flooded with sugar, especially in the form of fruit juice or sweet fruits, you are quietly nudging your body toward higher estrogen and lower testosterone. And then there's belly fat. This is the part that hurts men the most because it feels so unfair. Fat cells are not passive. They are biologically active. They contain an enzyme called aromatase, which literally converts testosterone into estrogen. The more belly fat you carry, the more testosterone you lose. So when fruit spikes your insulin, insulin tells your body to store fat. Fat produces estrogen, and estrogen suppresses testosterone. You get stuck in a loop. You didn't fail. You were pushed into a hormonal trap. What makes fruit even more dangerous than bread for many men over 50 is how fast and how quietly it hits. Bread gets demonized. Fruit gets celebrated. But fructose goes straight to the liver. It doesn't raise blood sugar in the same way glucose does. So you don't feel the crash right away. Instead, it silently gets converted into fat and hormones. That's why a bowl of grapes or a smoothie can do more damage to testosterone than a slice of toast. Your body doesn't see natural, it sees sugar flood. I've had men sit across from me frustrated and exhausted, telling me they gave up desserts, they stopped soda, they eat fruit every day, and yet their testosterone is still in the basement. And when I show them their insulin levels, their liver markers, their estrogen, something finally clicks. They weren't undisciplined, they were misled. And that realization is both painful and freeing, because it means the problem isn't you. It's the signal your food is sending. So if you've been feeling betrayed by foods you thought were helping you, you're not alone. And the truth is, one of the first fruits most men eat every single morning is quietly one of the worst testosterone killers of all. And in the next moment, I'm going to show you exactly which one it is. But here's what most people don't realize. The fruits you reach for when you're trying to be healthy are often the same ones quietly working against your hormones. I see this pattern every day in my clinic. Men come in proud of their discipline, telling me about their fruit bowls, their smoothies, their clean breakfast. and yet their testosterone keeps dropping. And it's not because they're doing something wrong, it's because no one ever explained what these fruits actually do once they enter a man's aging body. Take bananas. Men love bananas because they're easy, filling, and marketed as a perfect energy food. You grab one on the way out the door or drop it into a smoothie, and you feel like you've done something good for yourself. But hormonally, bananas are loaded with fast-acting sugars that rush straight into your bloodstream and flood your liver. That sugar spike forces insulin to rise. And when insulin stays high, testosterone production shuts down. Your body reads that signal as we're in storage mode, not we're in building mode. Over time, that daily banana becomes a quiet contributor to belly fat, rising estrogen, and falling testosterone. Then there are grapes. They look harmless. They're even served in hospitals and wellness clinics. But grapes are essentially tiny sugar bombs. They contain more concentrated fructose per bite than almost any other fruit. When you eat them, that fructose is dumped directly into your liver, where it gets converted into fat and eventually estrogen. I've had men tell me they snack on grapes all day, thinking they're avoiding junk food, not realizing they're bathing their liver in the very sugar that pushes testosterone down and estrogen up. Pineapple is another one that fools a lot of men. It's marketed as anti-inflammatory and good for digestion, and in small amounts it can be. But most men don't eat pineapple in small amounts. They drink it in juices or eat large bowls of it, and that's where the damage begins. Pineapple is extremely high in fructose, and that overload forces the liver to prioritize sugar processing over hormone testosterone-killing fruits balance. The more burdened your liver becomes, the more estrogen it produces, and the less testosterone your body can maintain. And then there's dried fruit, which may be the worst offender of all. Raisins, dates, dried mango, dried apricots. They're sold as natural snacks, but they're basically concentrated sugar with the water removed. A handful of dried fruit can contain as much sugar as a candy bar. That sugar doesn't just spike insulin, it overwhelms the liver and gets rapidly turned into fat. And that fat, especially around your belly, becomes an estrogen factory through a process called aromatization, where fat cells convert testosterone into estrogen. The more dried fruit you eat, the more you quietly flip the switch away from masculine hormones. What makes all of this so frustrating is that doctors rarely warn men about it. Nutrition guidelines lump all fruit into one healthy category. They don't account for aging hormones, insulin sensitivity, or liver overload. And most medical training still treats testosterone decline as inevitable instead of diet-driven. So men do exactly what they're told and still end up feeling tired, softer, and less driven. That's why I want you to hear this clearly. You weren't weak, you weren't undisciplined, you were misled. These fruits weren't designed for a 25-year-old metabolism, let alone a 55 or 65-year-old hormonal system. Your body processes sugar differently now, and when you keep feeding it high fructose fruits, you keep sending the wrong signal. But here's the hopeful part. Not all fruit works against you. Some fruits actually send the opposite message to your body, a signal that supports testosterone, reduces insulin spikes, and protects your liver. And in the next moment, I'm going to show you the fruits that do exactly that. But here's what most people don't realize. Your body never forgot how to be strong. Even after 50, even after years of mixed signals and sugar spikes, your testosterone system is still there, waiting for the right message. And that's what the right fruits do. They don't flood your blood with sugar, they don't overwhelm your liver, they gently tell your body it's safe to build again. And when that signal returns, everything begins to change. Let's start with blueberries. On the surface, they seem simple, but metabolically they're powerful. Blueberries are low in sugar and high in compounds that improve insulin sensitivity. That means when you eat them, your body doesn't have to release large amounts of insulin to deal with the sugar. And when insulin stays low and stable, testosterone production is protected. I've seen men add a small serving of blueberries to their breakfast, and within weeks, their blood sugar and inflammation markers start to improve. Less inflammation means less stress on the testes, and that's where testosterone is made. Pomegranate is another quiet powerhouse. It's been used for thousands of years as a symbol of vitality, and modern science now understands why. Pomegranate helps increase nitric oxide, which improves blood flow not just to the heart, but to the testes as well. Better blood flow means better nutrient delivery, and that supports hormone production. Even more importantly, pomegranate has been shown to lower cortisol, the stress hormone that directly suppresses testosterone. When cortisol falls, testosterone has room to rise. That's why men over 50, who often live with chronic low-grade stress, respond so well to it. Then there's avocado. This one surprises a lot of people because it doesn't taste sweet at all, but that's exactly why it's so good for you. Avocados are rich in healthy fats that your body uses to make hormones. Testosterone is built from cholesterol, and when you eat the right fats, you give your body the raw materials it needs to produce it. Avocados also slow the absorption of any sugar you eat with them, keeping insulin low and steady. For men over 50, whose insulin sensitivity is already reduced, that stabilizing effect is priceless. Kiwi is another fruit that works in your favor. It's low in fructose and high in vitamin C, which helps reduce oxidative stress. Oxidative stress damages the cells that produce testosterone. When you lower it, you protect those cells and allow them to function properly again. Kiwi also supports better sleep by helping regulate serotonin and melatonin. And sleep is where a large portion of your testosterone is made. Better sleep means better hormones. This is why I tell my patients something that surprises them. You don't need supplements yet. Your body still remembers how to be strong. It just needs the right signals again. When you choose fruits that support insulin control, reduce stress, and nourish your hormone-producing tissues, you start to reverse the damage quietly and testosterone-boosting fruits naturally. And men over 50 respond even better to these fruits because their bodies are more sensitive to signals. Now, when you remove the noise of sugar spikes and inflammation, your system becomes more efficient. A small change creates a big shift. But there's one more layer to this that almost no one talks about. Even the right fruit can work against you if you eat it at the wrong time or with the wrong foods. And in the next moment, I'm going to show you how timing and combinations determine whether fruit heals your hormones or harms them. But here's what most people don't realize. Fruit itself isn't the enemy. The real danger is how you eat it. I've watched men do everything right on paper, choosing the better fruits, yet still struggle because of timing and combinations. Your hormones don't just respond to what you eat. They respond to the message that food sends. And that message changes dramatically depending on whether fruit arrives alone or with support. When you eat fruit by itself, especially on an empty stomach, the sugar hits fast. Your blood glucose rises, insulin surges, and your body is pushed into storage mode. That's the exact opposite of what testosterone needs. Testosterone is a building hormone. It thrives when insulin is calm and stable. But when you pair fruit with protein or healthy fat like eggs, yogurt, nuts, or avocado, everything changes. The sugar enters your bloodstream slowly. Insulin stays low, and your body stays in a hormonal state that allows testosterone to remain active. That simple pairing turns fruit from a stressor into a supporter. Timing matters just as much. The best time to eat fruit is earlier in the day or around physical activity when your muscles are ready to absorb sugar without a big insulin spike. In the morning, paired with protein and fat, fruit can gently refill your energy without overwhelming your liver. After exercise, it can help replenish muscles instead of being stored as fat. But late at night, fruit becomes a problem. Your insulin sensitivity is lower. Your body is preparing for sleep, not energy storage. That late bowl of fruit quietly raises blood sugar, increases cortisol, and disrupts melatonin, the hormone that controls sleep. And sleep is where testosterone is made. Most of your daily testosterone production happens at night during deep, uninterrupted sleep. When fruit spikes your blood sugar before bed, it fragments your sleep. You may not even wake up fully, but your body never reaches the deep stages where hormones are rebuilt over time. That's one of the fastest ways to drain testosterone. You can even use fruit strategically to lower cortisol. When stress is high, cortisol rises and testosterone falls. A small serving of the right fruit paired with protein can gently bring cortisol down without spiking insulin. That's why some men feel calmer and more balanced when they eat fruit the right way. It's not magic, it's chemistry. This is where men often realize something powerful. Their body isn't broken, it was just receiving the wrong signals. When you give it the right ones, stable blood sugar, low stress, proper timing, it begins to shift back toward balance. And even if you've been eating the wrong fruits the wrong way for 20 years, it's not too late. But here's what most people don't realize. The hardest part of losing your energy, your drive, and your sense of Masculinity isn't physical at all. It's emotional. I sit across from men every day who quietly blame themselves. They think they waited too long. They think their best years are behind them. They look in the mirror and don't recognize the man staring back. And they assume that aging has taken something from them that can never be returned. That kind of fear doesn't get talked about, but it sits heavy in the chest. What I want you to hear is that what you're feeling is not weakness. It's the natural response of a man whose body has been receiving the wrong signals for a long time. When testosterone falls, confidence falls with it. Motivation drops. Sleep becomes lighter. Joy becomes quieter. And because it happens slowly, men start to believe it's just getting older. But that story isn't true. It's just the story you were told. Your hormones don't fail you overnight. They respond to signals from food, from stress, from sleep, from inflammation. When those signals are wrong, testosterone pulls back. When the signals improve, it comes back. That means this isn't about damage, it's about direction. And direction can always be changed. I've watched men in their 60s and 70s regain energy they thought was gone forever. I've seen marriages heal when desire returns. I've seen men stand taller, think clearer, and feel like themselves how to eat fruit correctly again. Not because of some miracle pill, but because their bodies finally received the message that it was safe to be strong again. You are not past your prime. You are not broken. You are not finished. Your body still knows how to respond. It still knows how to make testosterone. It still knows how to repair, rebuild, and restore. It just needs the right conditions. And the fact that you're here listening, learning, and paying attention to your health tells me something important about you. You haven't given up. You still care. You still want to feel good in your own skin. That matters more than you realize. So, as we move into what comes next, I want you to hold on to this truth. Your story is not over. Your strength is not gone, and your body is far more capable of recovery than you've been led to believe. But here's what most people don't realize. If you found this valuable, it's because part of you is still fighting for your health, and that matters. I invite you to subscribe and become part of this channel, not just for information, but for guidance that's designed specifically for men like you who want to feel strong, clear, and alive again. You are not alone in this. There are thousands of men watching right now who have felt the same quiet frustration, the same fading energy, the same worry about what aging means. And together we are changing that story. This community is about supporting one another, learning together, and reminding each other that our best days don't have to be behind us. You deserve deep, restorative sleep. You deserve steady energy that carries you through the day. You deserve confidence in your body and your mind. Taking care of your health isn't selfish. It's an act of respect for the man you are and the life you're still meant to live. And that open question I raised at the beginning about the healthy habit quietly lowering testosterone. Now you know the truth. It wasn't fruit itself. It was choosing the wrong fruits at the wrong times, sending your body estrogen-building signals instead of testosterone-building ones. When you change that signal, everything begins to shift back in your favor.